and welcome to Got Clutter, Get Organized, the conversation. And actually, I am excited because, I feel like I have not been really, providing all of you small business owners some strategies and tips, which is why I have Laia here, and she's going to be sharing some strategies because sometimes, as a small business owner, and as a business owner, you feel like overwhelmed. So, I am so happy she is here. So, welcome, welcome, welcome.
Thank you, Janet. I'm very pleased to be here and thank you for the opportunity.
So, before we get started in tips and strategies, what made you decide to start your business?
So that's actually a great question because as business owners, we have a why and then we start a business and we get very busy and rolling with life. And it's often when we kind of move away, we live life and we forget our why. And sometimes as business owners, we need to recenter on why did I start in my business? For me, it was two different things that made me make the decision. One, I come from corporate. I was working in big international firms, and I started having this inner voice telling me, you could be doing something more impactful, where there is not these huge approval processes, and just to make any little impact. Lots of things need to happen. If you work directly with someone, you could help them better. And then my husband started his business while I was in corporate. So we decided he will start his business and I will stay in corporate to have the security of the salary while he was getting started. So I supported him along the business and I did all the, admin and all the business setup, accounting, like all the basics to start. And I really enjoyed that. And then I was seeing him, doing business and having this flexibility around, how he ran his life and his business. I was like, wow, that's actually great. But there was something inside of me that was stopping me from doing it just at that moment of time. But I decided I don't want to do the corporate anymore, so I quit. And I started working with the smaller businesses, family-owned businesses, part-time, while I was trying to, on the other part-time hours that I had, to run my own projects and to see how life was going to pan out for me. And then I had my first daughter. When I had my first daughter and having a young family, I have a 2 and a 5-year-old, having the flexibility was a must for me, especially because I am, as you can all hear in my lovely accent, I am from Spain, but I live in Auckland, New Zealand. So I had no family here. I have no family here. So I needed to have the flexibility to just do what I love, but while being able to take care of my family needs. So that's why when my first daughter was born, I decided to start my own business.
Hmm. So, in your experience, what are some of the things that businesses do? I guess that they're overwhelmed with that they because I mean, you shared how you really were instrumental in just helping your husband really set things up and probably make things a lot easier for him. But are there things that we do as businesses that, really we're just like, you look and it's like, no, you really shouldn't be doing it. Or there's a simpler way of doing
Yeah,
something.
totally. And actually, my husband is a clear example. Still today, he started his business in 2017. Still today, I still run the operations of his business.
Mm,
So, but yeah, what happened, I find that the main challenge that business owners face is that, especially small ones, so when you are starting out, you are wearing too many hats. You are trying to do it all. What happens when you are trying to do it all? And I totally get it. When we are getting started, we don't have the resources and the finances to start just building a team. But the issue is that when you try to do it all and wear all these multiple hats, you start feeling overwhelmed. You start without even knowing, probably you drag yourself into burnout. Your mind is not functionally properly, correctly. Then there is no clarity. Then, it's like a snowball that start growing and things get difficult.
mhm.
But actually, they don't have to be, but they get difficult. So I think that's one of the main challenges that small business owners have, as well as that I'm huge around this, as well as systems and processes. Not
Mm.
everyone is systems and processes driven. I get it. For me, I love them, but I've worked with lots of people that they hate them. And the issue is that when you start your business as it's only you can maybe allow yourself not to have them starting out, but as your business starts growing, it doesn't matter if it's only you and some contractors, or if you only have 2 team members or 1 employee and then 2, but you do need to start getting the right foundations around your systems and processes and creating SOPs, standard operating processes. So everyone in the business knows how things need to be done at the right standard and generate more efficiencies. So I will say those are the 2 bigger things that I see business owners struggling with.
And you're right. It's like we try to do everything because, in the beginning, we're trying to save money, but still move forward. So, yes, and that can lead to burnout. But also, like you said, systems, as you'll probably share, systems really help us save time as well as money, but also help us, when we get to that place where we realize we need help, you already have like a process in place that can, help that person at least kind of begin to figure out, okay, this is what needs to be done here. But I wanted to talk about that. Like, what are some things that as business owners, we should be doing just to simplify what we do so we don't get overwhelmed?
So I'm going to share with you a few very simple strategies. And I recently created a simplification checklist with 10 very simple strategies that I'm happy to share the link with you all. But basically, I'm not going to go into all of them in a, very deeply, because I could talk about this for hours, But for me, the first one, when you're a small system owner or a small business owner, it's looking at your tools and your softwares and looking where we can simplify and consolidate. Why? We live in 2024 already, and there are so many options available for tech and software and tools. And you are starting out, you start using Google Suite, Canva, Asana, Notion, Calendly. Like, you start getting all these tools that make your life easier, but suddenly you find yourself with a range of tools, a range of subscriptions that they cost you money every single month if they are pay ones. But then as your business grows, sometimes those tools are not making your life easier because they are not serving your business anymore at the stage that you are right now. So it's looking at which tools and software do you have? How can you simplify and how can you consolidate? Right? So that's actually a good one. And it's actually not difficult. It's just doing an assessment of, what are the tools that you are using and are they serving my business at this stage or they are not. Another one that I'm huge about is energy management, because we tend to think about more the technical, functional things. But I think as business owners, we tend to make our life much harder because we don't manage our energy. So when I talk about energy management, what I mean, it's like there are activities and tasks that we have to do in our business that energizes us, but there are other tasks that drain us. And then there are others that they are in a neutral ground, right? Something that I didn't know when I started my business, it was that when you spend most of your time in the neutral areas or neutral tasks that they are neutral to your energy, or those areas where those tasks drain you get exhausted, tired, with no motivation to keep going and keep doing what you are doing. But if instead you spend most of your time in those areas those tasks that energize you, you're just going to thrive in your business. So recognizing that and looking at where are my natural talents, where is that I am very good at, that energizes me and I have fun doing, it's a great starting point to start focusing on those and looking at what are the other things that need to happen. How can I handle those myself, or I delegate them, or I also say on how to do that. So energy management has totally changed the way I do business and I run my business, and has impacted my overall well-being. So that's a big one for small business owners, I think. Systems and processes, I already touched on those. So it's making sure you record all your systems and processes to make everyone's life easier in the business. The onboarding process, when you have SOPs, is much easier and actually less time consuming. And we all want our time back. So that's a good one. strategically outsourcing. I know as small business owners, it's hard when the cash, we have up and downs, and sometimes the cash is not there. But the thing is looking at what do I need to outsource to speed up the growth of my business so I can focus on growing it, or I can focus on those areas of my business that I really enjoy and I really want to grow. So that's another thing that I could talk about for hours, but it's just making sure that we embrace delegation, and it's a mindset thing too. We don't have to do it all, but specifically picking those people that they are going to help us to grow more effectively and efficiently and free up our time. And headspace, super important, having your headspace for clarity and for everything. What else? Ideas management. That's something that actually I was having this conversation with a business owner this week. And it's like, you always have those amazing ideas. Last year you talked about A, B, and C, and where are those ideas sitting now? And he was like, oh, I just forgot. Like, didn't you record those? No. So I think it's very important when you have ideas, have a process or a system or somewhere, record them, and then review them regularly, like every month or whatever. And if it's not right for where you are right now in your business, maybe not now, but maybe in 6 months' time. So that's actually a way to keep your flow ideas going and along the track. You don't have to reinvent the wheel all the time. So that's another one. I could be talking more and more. I'm not sure if I'm just expanding too much, but I'm happy to share the checklist so you can all access it.
But you were saying a lot. You were saying some wonderful. I mean, first of all, ideas management. Like you said, you get all those different ideas, and you really have to know when is a good time to actually implement them. Because yes, it's a good idea, but is this the right time? And then the whole energy management. And you're right. There are some things that we all do that we really don't want to do, that would drain us. But then there are things that we get excited about, and then it's really kind of focusing your energy on those and not the other. And then just really, really getting comfortable with delegating. One of the things that I'm glad that I invested in is a virtual assistant, because, when it comes to website stuff or, mailing lists and all that stuff, I mean, yes, I know I need it, but then it would take me 3 and maybe 4 times more time to get that stuff implemented as it takes her just, a few minutes to get things going. So you're right. But one thing I did want to mention, the apps. I mean, sometimes you do get so overwhelmed with all the apps, and then you think everyone is for you. And like you said, you get so overwhelmed, and before you know it, of course, it's draining your budget depending on what plans you are. So that's a good one as well. Those were a lot of wonderful, wonderful tips. And again, I will have the link to the checklist in the show page so you can get it immediately. So, Laia, as a wife, a mother, a businesswoman, how do you stay organized?
So I have to admit, it's one of my natural talents. I love organization. But as you said, I have too many responsibilities and having young kids, and it gets tricky. So I make sure because I don't have the family support, I make sure I have the right tools and systems around me. And sometimes my husband is like, too many systems for everything. But honestly, it works wonders for me. And he doesn't even have to get involved because everything's running seamlessly. So win-win for everyone. But what I do, I use Asana. So it's task and project management tool that I use it for my business. But I use it for my business to organize my business, track my business. I have a CRM, I have a content library there. I have it all in there, but also to communicate with my team, to communicate with my clients, and to make sure that I don't miss any deadlines. So I pair that I have an amazing color-coded calendar where I have all the pickups and drop-offs, and every single I don't miss any of my kids' events at the school. I'm even volunteering with their school, helping them. I help them all. They set up their email newsletter, and I just make sure that everything is in the calendar. and I review it very regularly, like every day and every week, to make sure that if something comes up, I am well organized, and if I have to shift things around, I do. So that's how I personally keep my work and life organized, is through Asana and my calendar. And then I have my systems for everything I have to meet, like shopping. I don't do shopping anymore. I do online groceries. I pick them up on my way from picking up the schools every Tuesday at 4 p.m., for example. I just have those little things that simplify my life on a way that I can be a present mom, which I am very proud of. I can be a wife, and I can run my business. That is like my third baby. So
Mhm. Thank you so much for sharing that, because I think sometimes when we look at systems and processes and things, we don't really look at what it kind of brings into our lives. Like you said, you have your color coded calendar, like I do, and it allows you to really manage where your daughter, your kids are going, the husband, maybe even your time, but also how you've incorporated it so that, hey, this is the time that I am going to pick up the groceries so that we can always have food in our house, because that's important as well. Well, I could talk to you all afternoon, and there's probably more things that you've got that you could share. But I would like you. How can people connect with you? And I am going to definitely put the checklist in the show notes. But is there another way that people can connect with you?
yeah, sure. So I am on LinkedIn. So feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn. And please, if you do, send me a DM. Direct message me, say hi, introduce yourself. Don't send the connection request and leave it. Just let's connect and talk. So feel free to reach out through LinkedIn or my website. You have a contact page on my website where you can book a call with me. Feel free to have a coffee chat with me, or just to email me.
And of course, all of her information will be on the show page, so you can connect with her. You can send her a message, and you can just start a conversation with her about how she can simplify your business. Well, Laia, thank you so much for taking time. It is greatly appreciated.
Thank you to you, Janet, for the opportunity. It's been my pleasure.